So we're 1 month in now on listing our short-term rental property, and I thought it was only fair to come to you guys and give you our 1 month update to kind of, I guess, spill the tea. How is it all going? So you guys can make some decisions for yourself. Do the short-term rental real estate options make as much or possibly even more sense than going about buying long-term real estate in order to rent to long-term tenants? Well, I'm still figuring that out for myself, but I had a hunch that it was going to be quite a bit better. And here we are. We're 1 month in after listing the property. Now, don't forget, I've owned this property now for 3 months. So technically speaking, the first 2 months have been sort of a throwaway. And while it might be considered that, to me, it's been one of the best periods of my life. We actually purchased this property as a lifestyle asset. That's a term that we coined as a way of making money on things that we can use and love as well. And that's exactly what it's been. The first 2 months, we brought in all of our friends and family. In fact, we've had 30 guests in who have stayed at least one night, some as long as a week. Those are loved ones that have come and enjoyed the house with us, and along the way helped contribute towards building things out and decorating, and more importantly, offering their feedback and suggestions on how we could make this the best possible stay for guests. And after 2 months of focused studies with those loved ones, we've finally put the property on the market, and in just the first month, we've generated $13,800, almost 14 grand in total bookings. Now that is spectacular. And keep in mind that there were quite a few variables that have to be factored into that are going to offset the long-term averages. Number one, we had some real complications with Airbnb that frankly forced me to just dislike the company altogether, and I've now switched from Airbnb to VRBO, which is Vacation Rentals by Owner, or HomeAway. Number two, we're obviously dealing with various seasonality, so that's going to affect things over the long run. While we'll probably pick up bookings that we didn't get this time, the first month, because of the complications, we're going to lose bookings during the down season, which is about 5 months of the year, from December through May. This is a summer mountain area, which means that right now things are scorching hot. And after we factor in all of the various expenses that come along with this property, it's going to end up costing us somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3,400, just under that, to run this property each month, as long as we manage those bookings ourselves. And so while we've generated $13,800 some odd dollars, we've managed then to, of course, cost ourselves $3,400, and we're left with somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 grand. Now, $10,000 based on an initial investment amount of just under $200,000 means that in roughly 20 months, after cash flowing the down payment, the closing costs, and all of the decorations and amenities that we've put in, which is about 80 grand, we'll have the entire initial investment recouped. Now, that basically means that a $10,000 per month recoup rate is a 60% cash on cash return. 60% goes well above and beyond anything I could have hoped to earn from a long-term tenant buy and hold situation. So for me, I factor in all of those different variables, and I consider that, hey, maybe this won't be as good every month and the averages will be much worse. So even just cutting that cash on cash return in half to just 30% means that I will still strongly outperform my long-term buy and hold rental properties. Now, it's not to say that we don't like long-term buy and hold. In fact, the long-term buy and hold, long-term tenant outcome is an exit strategy for us in the event that something negative happens where we don't end up getting the results we expect from the short-term rental market. Maybe a new ordinance comes along and the county no longer allows us to rent the property to short-term tenants. Maybe the tenants don't take as good a care of the property as we want them to. Maybe the management of short-term renters is just going to be too much to handle, and we say, you know what, forget it. Let's go back to the long-term tenant scenario. However, after recently visiting a long-term rental that I currently have, where the tenants just moved out after a 2.5-year visit, guess what? That property is in horrible condition. It was probably never cleaned while they were living there. It was absolutely filthy, which means that had I been short-term renting it, I probably would have seen the property far better taken care of. If at any point in time I do want this property to be managed, I can certainly delegate that away. There's more than enough cash flow to hire somebody to do it. However, because the costs of management for short-term rentals in this particular area can be anywhere between 20 or even as high as 30%, it just doesn't make sense to give away on $14,000, $2,800 to somebody else to manage it when we only have one short-term rental to worry about. Now, if we start acquiring a whole collection or a portfolio of short-term rental properties, it'll make sense to delegate that responsibility away. However, it would be very easy at that point to internalize that role and just with 2 properties or so, create a really healthy income for somebody to come in and work that for us full-time. And if somebody's working it for us full-time, the quality of customer service, the response rates, the level of quality behind the tenants that we have in would be much better versus just simply outsourcing this to a really big property management company that frankly kind of forgets about us among all of their different clientele. So as of right now, I would give my overall feedback on this project a total 2 thumbs up. It's been phenomenal. And yes, there have been challenges, and yes, there have been some frustrations, and yes, not everything has gone perfectly. And I don't expect it to moving forward. But again, I have a good friend. His name is Arthur Vasquez. And Art has done somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 some real estate projects in just the last few years. He always taught me something that never ever escaped my memory, which was that there's one aspirin that's bigger than the rest. And he'd always put his hands up over his head and say, you know what the biggest aspirin in the world is, Matt? Cash flow. And that's right. Because with $10,000, I can afford to pay anyone to do anything I need in order to get this property performing at its highest and best level. This property currently is going to perform at a level that is 20 times better than my typical property. Most properties I seek somewhere around a $500 per month net cash flow position. Most properties that can bring $500 per month in net cash flow sell very quickly. Many investors are fond of that net cash flow. Some investors will even find properties that cash flow less than $500 and be okay with that. So when I can achieve a $10,000 net cash flow position, my mind is still blown away by this, it falls into a category that continues to get broader and broader that I call modern income, which includes income streams that weren't around just 6, 10, 12 short years ago, which can now make all of us unimaginable amounts of money. I mean, if you had told me just a half a dozen years ago that we could pull $14,000 a month out of just one home, a home that cost under $600,000 to purchase, I would have laughed in your face. I would have thought you were running some sort of a drug operation or had some illegal grow house in the back. And it just so happens that you can do this completely ethically and you can take phenomenal care of guests that will have lifelong memories as a result of you. So it's extremely exciting to me. I cannot wait to give you guys ongoing updates as to exactly what happens with this property. In the meantime, make sure you're a subscriber. You guys want to drop a thumbs up if you want me to do more videos to showcase the results of these investments we're making. I love to beta test this stuff for you. I don't want you guys to have to go out there and do it on your own when you can come to me first and say, hey, what mistakes have been made? And in order to get those types of answers based on your unique circumstances, you're going to want to make sure you sign up for coaching. The way you do that is visit freecoachingcalendar.com. We offer one free coaching session to every single visitor here on YouTube. It is something that requires at least a $500 starting net cash flow position. In order to calculate your cash flow, go ahead and grab your free copy of the Cash Flow Cruncher spreadsheet. It is the most comprehensive and dynamic debt-related income and expense cash flow calculator on the market, and we give it to you as a courtesy. Something that we just like to do as a thank you for you being a subscriber here to the channel. After you calculate your cash flow, go ahead and claim your one free coaching session. And if you say, you know what, Matt, I'm just not interested in waiting 8-9 months for a free coaching session because I care so much about my money, I care about my family's future, I care about my net cash flow, I want it to be 5 times or 10 times or 100 times higher than what it is right now, then please go ahead and get started. Claim a Quick Start membership. We offer one-on-one coaching over the course of a 30-month period. It costs less than $300 per month to get it. And if you think $300 a month to build a team of people that are going to help you achieve wealth is a lot of money, you're not a great candidate for the coaching. So we'll see you on the next video, my friends. Thank you so much for all your support. We're looking forward to hitting 200,000 subscribers before you know it. Be sure you jump over to our Instagram account as well, because we're going to give away another $25 Amazon gift card as we like to do. And in the meantime, You make it a great day today and you take great care.